Okay, okay. Last session we completed with which one? Static. You have any questions with static? You can ask. Okay, then we'll continue with the next topic. Otherwise, any questions with static? No questions. It will become more clearer because we are going to see more examples. More examples we'll see, and more doubts they'll start getting clear. We have come to one phase now. In Java, we have come to one level. Okay, still we have to go deeper. But now at least we have reached one stage where we can say your old statement, I know Java. Correct? You tell now always, I know Java. Yes, now you can tell. Boldly you can tell. Because you know what a class is, you know what objects is, how they work. Correct now? So now you tell. Till now you are telling I know Java. No, that was wrong. Okay, so now if you are complete with that static topic now, we'll go to the next topic. Shall I continue? I'll still give more examples on static. It's not that it's over. Still more examples I'll give. We'll move to the next topic now and start learning more things. That's it. So see, we learned how to write one class now. Get the point. We learned how to write one class. Okay. So after you write one class, it's not that you'll write only one class. You'll write plenty of classes in your project. Okay. We'll just learn to write only one class. But any class you write, it will be almost all in the same manner you'll be defining. You'll see whether it will have an instance variable. It is a logical construct. Whether it will have a constructor, whether it will have method, whether it will have block. Keeping this in mind only, you'll go on writing many classes now. So if you write all classes independently, then how will one class use another class? Okay, so also, see, after writing classes, you have to understand that one class will start using another class. That is one more subject. Okay, so one class will start using another class. So how will one class use another class? That's the next topic now. How will one class use another class is one what is that topic? Okay, so that's when we come to a new topic called as relationship between classes. Okay, this is a OOP subject. In all object-oriented programming languages, you have got this topic. What? Relationship between two classes is there in all object-oriented languages. Let us see how Java supports this particular concepts now. Understood? So most of the things what we are going to learn now, it's big, it's new, it's interesting, very interesting. Interesting means what? Very, very, very interesting. But it takes a lot of time for you to understand. Because these are subjects which have been evolved with 30-40 years of experience, and do not expect that you'll understand in 3-4 minutes or 3-4 classes. You minimum require around 3 to 4 months to understand the subject of what? One new topic I'll start. Is a relation and has a relation. Okay, it's such a vast topic, and we'll see it in language, how you do this is a relation and as a relation. We'll see it in projects, then things will start becoming clearer to you. Okay, so it's a new topic what we are seeing now. So relationship between classes, how you relate classes. Okay, it's a new topic, and we are going to go with some quite new terminologies here. But you don't have to worry about terminologies. Okay, terminology means what? They are on jargon. Jargon means on word it is. So to explain you that word, I'll take nearly 15-20 minutes. Then we have to see it with example. Then you start understanding it. So one side is terminology, that's jargon. Then you have to understand the meaning of it. But those terminologies are in simple English only. But you find it very difficult to understand. Okay, why? Because they're related technically here. Okay, so one side is terminology, other side is example for that, then you have to understand it. So this is how it goes. So relationship between classes, okay, let's start it off now. There are two ways you can create a relationship between the classes. Okay, one is you can create a relationship with is a relation. We call it as a is a relationship. We'll be seeing it with example. First I'm explaining you the OOPS concept. In OOPS, after writing classes and all that, we relate the classes. One with only two kinds of relationship. There is no other relationship. Remember this point. Only two kinds of relationship. One is a relation. Other one would be has a relation. Or I'll remove that A also. It's simple. Let's keep it very simple. Okay. When you say is a relationship, okay, what we do is we start doing something called as in OOPS terminology, it is called as generalization. In OOPS terminology, okay, it's called as generalization, or I'll put it like this. One second. For establishing is a relationship, there are two things: generalization One more is realization. Okay, for establishing is a relationship, we'll go with generalization, realization. Okay, if you want to do has a relationship, we generally do something called as, one second, how will I classify it? Association. One second, inheritance. I think, one second. Is a relationship, has a relationship. Just trying to classify it. Relationship between classes is being done in two ways. One is a relation, other one would be has a relation. When there is a relation, we do something called as inheritance, which you have still not seen it. When there is a relationship, we do something called as inheritance. When there is has a relationship, we do something called as association. Understood? When there is has a relationship, we do something called as association. Okay, today I will be discussing about association. We are still not gone into inheritance. This is the topic what we will be seeing. But just let me classify it. So when you want to do inheritance or when you want to implement is a relationship, Java supports you with terminology. Here we come across is realization. Or one second, generalization first I'll do. Generalization, realization. See, this is how it is supported. For generalization and realization are related to OOPS. Generalization and realization are subject related to OOPS. But Java supports generalization with the help of extends keyword. And Java supports realization with the help of one keyword called as implements, which will be seen later. Implements keyword. There are two keywords which you have to learn. It's a big topic. It's not that as is your thinking. Okay. So extends is one keyword here in Java, and it will be done. Means you will be using the extend keywords when you want to do inheritance. But when will you do inheritance? When there is a relationship. Similarly, implements keyword will be used to implement realization. So these two are OOPS concepts. These are in the object-oriented analysis design. It's on subject. Okay, like how you use classes and all that. Writing classes and using classes is on a big subject. So there in that subject you have got something called as generalization and realization. In generalization and realization, if you want to implement it in Java it is supported with extends keyword and implements keyword. In Java it is supported like this. Understood? We are not bothered about other object-oriented languages, but Java supports all the concepts very brilliantly. In C++ and all, they'll do it in one way. Okay, in Java they'll do it in another way. So, but the concept remains same. They will be doing it in different ways in the language. We'll compare with C++, C and all later because we have not even discussed this topic. So there's no question in discussing about that further. We'll discuss about this. Again, we'll talk when we want to implement has a relationship. Okay, so has a relationship will be done when there is association. Means whenever there is has a relationship, we do something called as association. Whenever there is has a relationship, we do something called as association. Means we associate one class with another class. We associate, that is what is the topic today. I'll be giving you plenty of examples on this. Okay, and whenever we want to, one class wants to use another class, we can go with association also. Let's see how you do it. Okay, in association again there are two things. One is called as composition, other one is called as aggregation. So we'll be discussing composition, aggregation. So these are the two terminologies. Again, these two are related to what? Object-oriented analysis, design and all that. Okay. So these are the four words which are coming out now. Generalization, realization, composition, aggregation. So you should know the difference between all this. Okay. Provided you're working in object-oriented languages, you should know the difference between all this. So the subject is opening up now. We finished learning what a class is, and now we are going more deeper into all these OOPS concepts now. So I'll be talking about I'll be talking very generally about association today, and later on I'll be classifying what is composition, aggregation and all that in detail with examples. With examples I'll be showing you later. Today I'll just introduce what is association for you. Okay. Okay, then now in UML, see there is something called as UML diagram. You know what is UML diagram? Huh? So here we indicate with, this is a symbol we use. Sorry, it is not, my drawing is very bad, man. This is a diamond. Okay. See what happens when we are writing big projects now in companies, we cannot directly start off coding because there will be so many classes. Okay. So what happens, we draw diagrams using one language called as UML. We draw diagrams using one language called as UML. It's called as modeling language, object oriented. So it's UML means unified modeling language. Okay, there will be thousands of classes in a project. So now how will one class use another class? Okay, so first because say if you sit directly coding, no, they are subject to mistakes. One class you go with inheritance, one class you might go with has a relation. Okay, means see there are two classes A and B. You will not know how to relate it. You will code off, programmatically you will write the code. Later on you want to modify it, will become a big difficulty. So before we start coding the project, what they do is, they will start relating the classes pictorically. How this class will use this class will use this class. Now the developers will find it very comfortable. So the drawing is always done with help of a language called as UML. UML means its own language. We will be learning this also. The full form of this is Unified Modeling Language. Full form all of you will know. There is no doubt about it. But how actually it is implemented practically is a story here. So we'll be seeing that also. It is on language. Like we are having many languages. Okay. By the time you complete the course here, you'll be learning many languages. You are thinking you are joined only for Java, but you'll be learning on presentation language. Like what? HTML, JavaScript, and all that. HTML is on presentation language. You'll be learning scripting language like JavaScript. You'll be learning on programming language like Java. You'll be learning on querying language like SQL. You'll be learning on modeling language like UML. So plenty of languages you'll be learning. Okay, but those languages are very simple. They are not as complicated as which one? Java is complicated. Huh? Okay, so Java, you think it is complicated because it's supporting programming. That's what you understand. Okay, so the programmers need lot of support. Like you need support for control statements, user-defined data types. That is why programming languages are always tough to learn. Okay, but presentation languages, scripting languages, they are all very simple. If you know one programming language very concretely, any language can be learned very easily. But base for learning any language is programming language. Okay, because there you have a lot of control statements, iteration statements, break statements, so many things you'll have. When you learn such powerful languages, you can learn any language now. So plenty of languages are required to survive in the industry. Entering into an industry, anybody will enter. But surviving in the industry is very difficult, and until and unless you know all these languages, it becomes very difficult for you to survive. So we are going to cover that, and it's not going to take as much as time as Java. Very fast we can finish all those languages. It's not a problem. But what I'm trying to say is, whenever we have many classes, okay, we try to rate the classes, pictorically it will be done. Then later on what happens, we developers will see how this class is using that class, how this class is using that class. Based on that we start coding. Okay, so in UML, this is the way you represent what? Generalization. This is a diagram. Okay, realization is used with broken arrow. This is done with straight arrow without any broken lines. Okay, so composition is done like this, means it's on a diamond which is fully painted, something like that. Okay, this is an open diamond, means empty, nothing is there. So why, see, UML is not restricted to C++, Java and all that. UML is used for any object oriented language. In any object oriented, see, you might be using coding using C++, you might be using Java, you might be using any other object oriented language, COBOL. So in all these object oriented languages, there is one unique way we use to represent the relationship between classes. So UML is not restricted to one particular which one? Programming language. Okay, so there we'll design the data types and we'll start relating. Like so that's why we use these words: generalization, realization, composition, aggregation. Okay, and if we want to show generalization in the diagram, we use straight arrow mark. We want to show realization, we use dotted lines like this. Okay, then if you want to show composition, we'll use this one. And if you want to use this diagrams, these are diagrams. So later on when you start seeing UML diagrams, you'll understand this. Anyway, this initial introduction is a bit tough for you to explain now, because you sit here with the idea of what? I know everything, and suddenly when I start telling you new topics like this, I will start wondering now what it is. So let me not take you so much deeper in the first class itself, okay, where you will not be comfortable. This is one minor introduction what I given to you. Let us start seeing some examples programmatically now, so that you'll get the idea of it. Then I can talk more on these terminologies. Just I introduced this terminology now. What are the terminologies I have introduced? Generalization, realization, composition, aggregation. Remember these words, and I'll be using these words extensively. Then you'll clearly understand this. Okay, now before we again wind up this section, we'll see this now. In Java, if you want to relate between the two classes, we can go with is a relationship or has a relationship. Okay, whenever there is a relationship between two classes, we do inheritance. Whenever there has a relationship, we do association. I'll be showing you association today. Okay, so we'll be doing association. In association also there is something called as composition and aggregation. Composition means it is complete dependency. Composition means it means complete dependency. We'll be seeing example for this. Okay, aggregation means partial dependency. Theoretically I'll explain you. See this. What is complete dependency? Let us take the relation like something like this. There is one class called as, okay, let us take, okay, before we go into programming, see, university has a department. Yes or no? See, I'll fill up, fill in the blanks now. English. You know English, fill in the blanks now? Now tell now. It is very easy. How will you fill a relationship now? University, I'll give only two options. Is a or has a. Fill in the blanks. Is a department or has a department? Sure. I think at least if you don't know Java, you know English. So use English knowledge now. University has a department. Okay, then department what? Is a lecturer or has a lecturer? Has a lecturer, fine. So like this, okay. So this is how we talk in generally, in theory. But actually when it comes to practical coding, it will be like this. Class, they will be on university. And one second, where will I write it? They will be on class. Okay, one second, I'll take this piece. Where I'll write now? Class, university. And there will be one more class called as department. There will be two classes like this. Separate. Now one class has to use another class now. See, this is theory wise. But when it comes to practical coding, there are two separate classes. Now in university, what I'll do is, I'll have department DPT. So department is a variable. DPT is a variable of type what? Department. It's an instance variable. It's a member of a class. Till now our instance variables were what? Primitives. But slowly you start saying our instance variable will become what? User defined type. Understood? So department, university has a department. Now one more, I'll write class lecturer. Now lecturer will become an instance variable to department, like this. Are you following now? Programmatically. Theoretically we tell like this, but programmatically we do like this. Okay. So now again, one more thing what you have to understand here is, university has a department. Means there is complete dependency between these two. If university is not there, what will happen? Department will not exist. There is complete dependency between university and department. University is not there, department will exist. Okay. But if department is not there, lecturer can exist now. If department closes, lecturer will be there now. So that we call it as partial dependency. All I am telling you theoretically. Programmatically we have to see all this. Okay. So writing a class is not important now. What is becoming important? Using a class is becoming important now. How you start using class, how you relate one class with another class. This is another big subject now. If writing a class has taken you 10 to 15 days, using a class also will require what? Around 10 to 15 days for you. Till now we only wrote a class, created object, started using it, that's a different one. But actually when you write one class will start using another class, that class will use another class. See like this, University will use department. Department will use lecturer. It's a link. Understood? So like that, one class will go with other class. So when there is has a relationship, whenever there is has a relationship, we start associating the classes. You understanding now? Whenever there is has a relationship, we start associating the classes. Associate means what? University is department is associated with university. Lecturer is associated with department. It is associated. Okay. And these are oops. Now you don't tell I am from ENC background, I am from that background. You are from whatever background. Oops and OOAD and OMD. They are very general subject. They do not talk only in Java. These are the subject which has to learn by any developer. You are from ENC background or you are from computer background, that is irrespective. Okay. Or you might be saying that I'll code in embedding. Or you might be saying I'll code in application. Wherever you code, irrespective. You have to learn an object-oriented language now. Whether you code in embedding, you have to learn C++. You are coding in Java, means application, you might have to learn Java or COBOL or anything. Whichever language you learn, this basic concept of relating classes is common in any language. Now don't think I am teaching you in Java. We are learning that concept, how to do it in Java now. Think the reverse. We are not learning Java. We are learning how to implement all these powerful concepts in Java, or how Java is supporting all these concepts now. It is the other way around. Understood? Because you know what happens, generally if any, till now you are all comfortable. If I tell you something, you are understanding everything. Very happily used to wag your tails. Wag your tail means what? Bala bishtairi. Oh, you will go, I know all this. What is so big thing about it? If I suddenly tell something big new, oh, it is so difficult, it is so difficult. Now how will I teach you if you behave like this? Understood? Your wavelength should be in the same standard. Okay. Something I tell something new to you, you should not tell it is tough. You should be ready to accept and learn it. Something when I tell you which you already know, you should not be overconfident now. There are two things. One is overestimation and underestimation. You should not underestimate yourself also. You should not overestimate yourself also. You should just estimate yourself. Estimate means what? I am a normal person who can do it. That's it. If you act extra smart, I know everything, and overestimate, there also you will fail. And if you are what is that? Introvert. Introvert means what? I don't know anything, I can't do anything, this and all, there also you will fail. So you should be having the ability to tell that, yes, I can do all these things. So it is reverse engineering what we are learning. This is the subject. What is the subject? Relation between classes. Is a relation, has a relation. In that we have inheritance and association. When it is inheritance, there are two things: generalization, realization. Okay. Then in association, composition and aggregation. So composition means complete dependency. Like example is university has a department. This is an example for it. Partial dependency means what? Department has a lecturer. University has a department, right? University has a department has a lecturer. Are you understanding complete dependency and partial dependency? We'll see how to program now. We are going to learn that only today. Understood? Now here, generalization is a word. Now again, coming back to this topic, little I'll tell you and close it off. You use extends keyword and use implements keyword. Here you'll say class extends class. This is the syntax. How you'll be doing. One class extends another class. But here you'll say class implements interface. Understood? Class A implements class hello implements A interface, like that. We'll be seeing all this. Anyway, that we are not still studied. I have classified this thing. 1 second. Correct only. Class extends class implements. Only it was moving that side. That's why I'm just putting it this way. Class implements. Implements is the word. Implements. It's a new word. These are Java keywords. Interface. Or here also we can write extend. Sometimes We'll see this class implements into this. We'll see it. Okay, this is a subject and we have to go deeper into this. That much I can tell you now. This is a minor introduction I can give you on this subject, because if I go more into OOMD and all that, object oriented modeling design and all that, you will not understand. Okay, OOMD, object oriented modeling design. I am talking about that subject. Now how that subject is supported in Java, we are seeing. Understood now? How that subject is supported in Java, we are seeing that. Object oriented modeling design. So today I will be talking about association. I will not be going deeper into composition, aggregation and all that. I will just show you how one class will be associated with another class. That's it. I will just show you how one class will be associated with another class. Means the topic is one class will have one instance variable now of user defined type. Till now we have written classes. Our classes were having instance variables of primitive type. Now our user defined data type will be of type what? Sorry, our instance variables will be of type user defined type. Now before telling you this topic, if I explain you that, you will have a question. Why will your user defined data type become an instance variable in another class? So to give you an explanation for that, I have just explained you all this. So today we will complete this, and from tomorrow we are moving into user relationship only. We'll start off inheritance. Understood? Almost all we have completed a 3 OOPS concept, which one? Encapsulation, polymorphism, abstraction. One more is pending now, which is inheritance. I'll be starting this from tomorrow. Tomorrow only we'll start off is a relation. Today I'll teach you has a relation. Tomorrow I'll be teaching you is a relation. This subject starts off now. Understood? So shall I clear all this? This is just the summary, man. Okay, this is just the summary. There's too many things what you have to learn. Theoretically it is very easy to understand all this, but we want all this what? Programmatically, practically. So how many examples you see now, that better you'll understand this. So these concepts can be only learned with what now? Examples. And again, all examples are not output based, clearly understand, they are concept based. So now the example what I'll be giving is has a relationship. Has a relationship. Are you clear? These are the only 2 relationships you can establish between 2 classes. Understand this relationship properly, because in the further classes they become very, very important to you. Shall I clear everything? Class extends class, class implements interface. Fine. A brief idea about this is very much essential. End of the day, why do you establish is a relationship, has a relationship? Can you guess? Reusability, nothing else. Reusability. Why you go with is a relation and has a relation is some code will be in one class, some code will be in another class. This code will use that class. That's it. Is a relationship and has a relationship is established only for one main reason, reusability, nothing else. Okay, now see an example. Like see, I'll have one class employee. Just giving you a practical example now, how you do it in project. I'll have one class called as address. I cleared off everything now? Yeah, no problem. So then see here, int employee ID. Okay, int employee ID. Then string name. Then I'll have int phone number, or 1 second, int date of birth, or I'll take something like okay, we'll do like this. String first name, string last name. Okay, now fine. He's having his address. We'll have phone number also, no problem. Int phone number. He's having so many details. So all the details related to one entity or identity, we encapsulate it in a class. That's not a problem. Now similarly, you'll have something called as int address ID, string area, string city, int pin code. Like this you'll have. You'll have this. So employee has an address or is an address? Employee has an address. You know English now? And why are you telling is an address? Employee is an address. Huh? Employee has an address. First learn English, then you learn Java. After learning 22 years of English also, you don't know what is English. Huh? Fill in the blanks, you don't know. Understood? But you want to learn Java in how many days? 20 days. Fine. Understand? One language is not that easy to learn. So fine. See, that is when we say we make address as an instance variable here. Understanding now? You're getting the practical example for what is association? You're getting the practical example for what is an association? Employee is, our address is associated with employee. This is an example for what? Has a relationship. I show you one more example for is a relationship now. Is a relationship. See, till now I have not explained you inheritance, but just I'll give you roughly this idea. Okay. Like when you want to do inheritance now, there is something we say now, see, BMW, first we'll see theoretically, is a car. Yes or no? BMW has a car or is a car? Yeah. Is a car. Maruti is a car. Yes or no? So what happens here, in this case what we do, when there is a relationship, we write something called as class car. And here, some general things will keep. Like a thing is int, wheels. Car always has 4 wheels, no? Okay. Int steering. It has 1 steering, no? Any car has 2 steering, huh? Yes, sir? Good. So, whatever is very general, we keep it in one class. Okay. Then what we start doing, we start inheriting. That I'll be explaining you tomorrow. Just I'm telling you what is the subject of is a relationship. Class, now see, BMW extends, we say, car. And here, we can have AC. We can have stereo. Extra things now. Okay, now all cars do not have stereo, do not have AC, no. So extra things what is there, we can add it there. Understood? Similarly, BMW will have AC and all that. Maruti might not have, no. See, default in BMW what will happen? AC will come. But in Maruti there is option. Yes or no? With AC, without AC and all that. But just I am telling you, see, whatever is general, we keep it where now? In one class and start inheriting that into extends car. But here what you notice, sir? Maruti is on class, sir. BMW is another class. But these two, see, now it is becoming like this. We are having car and we are relating. See, these 3 classes are getting related now. How they are getting related? Maruti is extending or BMW is extending car. They are related now. But we are relating them with what? Is a relationship. So whenever you want to do is a relationship, we use inheritance. And to do inheritance, we use extends. To do inheritance, we use extends. Don't tell me your E&C now. Even if you are E&C, you should know what? All the subject. Okay. Simply I am E&C, I am computer science, you can't blame. Whether you are from any stream, you should know one good object-oriented programming language. Understood? If you don't know, learn from now at least. After going to company, who will teach you all this now? Okay, so you should know a very good object-oriented concept. Now how that is implemented in language also you should know. E&C people should know what now? One C++ language now. Minimum you should know an object-oriented language now. Worst. Understood? So, worst come worst, you have to know an object-oriented language. In all object-oriented language, this story will come up now. Okay, simply there is something called as blame game. I am from that, I am from this. Okay, you can't blame like this. You have to learn. Are you clear with all this now? So this is how you start relating. Here you are related with what? This is an example, very good example for what? As a relation. This is a very good example for is a relationship. Are you clear with this now? So when you have understood these two topics, now our main topic becomes, now let us come back to has a relationship. Let us come back to has a relationship and start understanding how you initialize this add variable. Yes or no? How to initialize, see we have till now seen how to initialize what? Primitive variables when they are instance. But now we have to learn how to initialize user defined variables when they become instance variables. This is the topic now. So straight away I could have started and got the output, but you wouldn't have understood why I am doing all that. Understood? So now we have to learn this topic now. It's a very simple topic. See, program theoretically I'll talk a lot of things, When it comes to programmatic, it is very simple. Java supports all these concepts in a very simple manner. In what simple manner it supports all this? You check out now. Okay. Anyway, do not bother about is a relationship because we are going to start it from tomorrow. Okay. We are going to complete today has a relationship. Understood now? I'll focus only on what today? Has a relationship. Are you clear with what is that? Is a relation and has a relation? So when there are two classes, you have to identify whether you'll go with is a relation or as a relation. So when you are going with is a relation or has a relation, always remember that your English should be good. Not which one? Java and all that. When you are good in English, automatically you'll know how to relate classes now. Yes or no? So give class names also properly. If you give class names like A and B, what will happen now? A as B or B as A, or A is B or B is A. Will not understand. So that's why we have to give good names. That's why I give very powerful names. Okay, you should give good names. That is when automatically start understanding. In fact, the name of the classes here we call it as noun. Noun, you know what is noun? No English? You know noun? Noun. Noun means what? Some particular thing. Okay, it should be like that. So methods are verbs. Verbs means what? Action. Methods are verb and class names are noun. So that's why even when we write class cluster, what we do? We write like this. Understood? So now see, class dog. Then barks is a verb. Example I am giving you. Class employee. Method name will be what? Save employee. Verb. This is how we follow standards while coding. Class employee, see this? Save employee is on method, or delete employee is on method. This is action, this is noun. So you know how to write nouns now? You know how to write your names? First letter you will write fully caps now. Why? Why? How will you write your name? If you ask me to write my name, will I write like this? Never. Why? These are some conventions what we follow. Same convention you follow for what? Class name. Understood? Barks. Will you write B caps? No. So you have to write it in dog barks. Dog is what? Noun. Barks is what? Verb. You know how to write it. Same English. Okay. Then will I write my name like this? R-A-V-I. People will laugh, no? If I write it like this, what will happen? People will laugh. Similarly, don't write your class names like this. Employee. What will happen? Others will laugh at your class. So when you give names, it shows your discipline in programming. So that's why when you go to interview also, when you write class names, be careful you write. Because, see, when you are going for an interview, they will not be looking into how good you are in programming. They are looking at your approach. And they'll be looking at your attitude. And attitude will be checked with a single name like this. If you write like this, it shows your attitude. You're careless, no? It's something like carefree attitude. They'll say, okay, we'll get back to you. Finished, you're over, you're gone. They don't have to see you and find me. You might have a question, how will they come to know about my attitude? Okay, they cannot find out at all. You might be thinking like this, I'll go, I'll sit straight, I'll tackle him, I know how to tackle. No tackling, because when you write on simple method name and class name, they'll come to know about your mentality. How careless you are. How, responsible you are. So such are the things which you have to take notice while giving an interview. Understood? They'll come to know, you're so careless and you're so negligent, you're not bothered, you're carefree, and they'll not give you a chance. Understood? You might enter the company, back door. But inside what will happen? One more round of interview will be there. For what? Getting into the project. TL or PM will take. There also they will reject you. So these are all things what you have to understand. So when you go to the interview, give proper names to classes and methods. Okay. Slowly you'll get that. Slowly you'll get the idea about, I just told you conventions. But what is the actual name of the class to give and all? Slowly by practice you'll get it. You don't have to worry too much about that. And that you will get when we start doing projects. Because right now we are not doing any project, we are going with simple names like A, B, C, here no problem. But as we go on writing big projects, there if you go on giving class names like A, B, C, in your project you'll have only 26 classes. Yes or no? A to Z is how many classes? 26 over. Then what will you do? Next, A1 class, A2 class, B2 class. So you can't give class names like this. So you have to give very professional class names. Clear? So even if you get an output sometimes in interview, they will not select you. Remember that. They will be looking at your approach and all these things. Okay. So this is, I'm just giving you examples. Still one more example if you want on this one. See this. Some more examples I'll give. Now dog is an animal. Now what will I do? So some more examples you can see. Dog is an animal. So then, or we can go like this. Alsatian is a dog. Pomeranian is a dog. Pomeranian has a dog or is a dog? So these are all very good examples now. Pomeranian, double N, is a dog. Okay. Alsatian is a dog. So you write one class now called as dog. Let Alsatian and this one, Pomeranian, extend it. See, these are all class names what I am writing here. But don't think in project you will have class names like Alsatian, Pomeranian and all that. Just I am giving an example. We learn it theoretically like this, and when we get into programming, we will start relating classes like this. This is theory. Any author you take, theory wise they will explain like this only. Understood? So I think enough of examples on what is a relation, has a relation. Directly we will get into what now? Our topic is what? Main topic. How do you initialize your instance variable if it is of type user defined data type? That's it. We are coming back to the basic now. Okay. So shall I clear now? Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll have one class hello, and I'll have int x, int y. All this is okay. You can have one method called as void fun, and you can print here SOP value of x is okay. I will have one constructor to initialize it. Class hello. Okay, this is a simple class. Now I'll have a class called as test. There are two classes. Here I'll have one instance variable like p. Simple I'm taking. It have int p. This dot p is equal to p. We'll have one m1 method. SOP value of p is plus p. Very simple class. There are two classes now. Now we start relating. But today I'll be showing you the relationship with association. Understood? So I'll go with like this. Hello has test I'll go. Because here it doesn't make any sense. Hello has test means definitely ask me what. What is hello, what is test? So here it doesn't make sense. But just if at all I want to say hello has a test, then what I do is I'll have test as a variable here. That's what I'm trying to say. So to make you understand this topic, I have to do all that roundabout. Understood? It's a simple concept now. See how it is easily done in Java now. Whatever we learned now, how easily it will be done in Java C now. Okay. So test T is an instance variable now. Okay. So here there are two primitives. Look now, how many instance variables are there in class hello? How many instance variables are there in 3? 2 of type int, 1 of type test. Valid, highly valid. Understood? Highly valid. So this is how one class will use another class. Okay. Now, what will happen now? You have to initialize it. You have to initialize it. How will you initialize? Same 4 approaches. Hard coding, dot operator, method, constructor. There is no difference. Okay, by chance if I don't initialize, let's see what happens. We'll create the object. Class demo PSVM. Okay, see I want to work with hello object. Hello h is equal to null. Understood? Now I'll say h is equal to new hello. So what happens? Okay, if you don't initialize, I'll pass 10 and 20. The constructor needs two values. So hello object gets created. What are the members of hello? X, Y, T. T is a variable of type test. Constructor is there. Int X, int Y. This dot X is equal to X. This dot Y is equal to Y. Then you are having fun method. Everything is same as is your class. Code has come into existence. But in JVM you know how memory gets allocated. I draw this so that you understand what is class, what is object. Okay. So don't bother more about the diagram. Okay, in JVM it will be like this, stack, heap and all. Just I always draw this way to make you understand the members of the class properly. What you can access, what you cannot access. So void fun is there. So now this is hello object. Sorry, new memory has got allocated. Constructor gets executed. 10 and 20 are arguments. Passed to x and y. X and y are parameters. They'll accept it and initialize the two instance variables. Okay, if you don't initialize t, object is ready now. The address is given to what? 150. Perfect it is. No doubt. If you don't initialize it, the value of t will be what? I can work now. SOP, see this. H dot x will print me 10. SOP, H dot y will print me 20. H dot fun, it will execute, no issues. But if I print SOP, H dot t, what is the output? Null. The value of t is what now? Null. So I told you, when you are using instance variables, okay, instance variables always get what? All the basics you bring back now. When an instance variable comes to life, it will have default value. And you try to work with this one now. SOP, this is a valid code. H dot T dot P. Valid code. In T you are trying to access what? P. If you want, you can access method also. H dot T dot M1 you can access. But it gives you null pointer exception. It gives you null pointer exception. Because you can't work with the variable which is not referring to any. You can work with H, but you can't work with T. But understand the syntax, how it is going now. Directly if I had thought you wouldn't have understood this. That is the reason I explained you what is a relation, has a relation, what is association, how do you work, associate it, how do you initialize it. That's what we are coming to the topic now. Are you clear? So now how to initialize this so that all this works fine is the question now. Are you following now? So one way you can initialize it is with hard coding. Valid now? It's highly valid. If you want to see here, see hard coding of, so I'll change the program now. Just notice, I'll remove the constructor. Now I start showing you what all ways I can initialize. Int x is equal to 1, okay, or 20, 10, 20. This is hard coding now. For primitives, what value you give? Primitive variables you give primitive values. For reference variables you give what value? Reference value. Highly valid. This is highly valid. Are you following this now? Are you following this example now? Now you create the object hello h. H is equal to new hello. There is no constructor now. We are going with hard coding. Now what happens? New memory will be allocated. There is no constructor now. Memory will be allocated. Okay. Default constructor gets executed. Okay. So sorry. What happens in this line? Let's go one by one. Class is loaded. Static variables are declared and initialized. There are no static variables. Static block gets executed, but there is no static block. So all this will not happen. Now object is getting created. During object creation phase, what happens? Instance variables are declared and initialized. So now still constructor has not got executed, mind you. Instance variables have been declared and initialized. So now what happens? X has come to life, 10. Y has come to life, 20. T has come to life. But it will create one more new object. The object is of type what? Test. It will have P. It will have one constructor. You are sending some value. This dot P is equal to P. Same code comes into existence, man. There is no change. Void M1. Same. The address of this object, it might be 150. It is given to what? To T. Perfect. See, till I am telling object creation phase. Instance variables are declared and initialized. Then instance block will be executed. Then construct will be executed. Don't forget your basics. What happens during object creation phase? Are you getting it now? I gave yesterday the points. What happens during object creation phase? You know there are two phases now. One is class loading phase. Other one is object creation phase. Class loading phase, what will happen? Static variables are declared and initialized. Static block gets executed. Then object of class, all that, but that happens during class loading time. But during object creation phase, first instance variables are declared and initialized. Notice that is happening now. Then instance block, but there is no instance block. Then the default constructor will execute. Are you clear? So now it is ready. So the address of that object is now given. It might be 250. 150 is address of what? T. 250 is address of what? Hello. Fine, now you can work. See this. H dot X, what it will print? 10. H dot Y, what it will print? 20. H dot fun, what it will execute? It will execute. H dot T, what it will print? 150 address. H dot T dot P, what it will print? We have sent 5. So it will initialize to 5. It will print 5. H dot T dot M1, definitely it will execute M1. There is no doubt about it. Are you understanding now how to work? So all this will happen when there is association relationship. Are you following now? Till now you are using test and all as local variables. Till now you are using test and all as local variables. But now you have started using it as instance variables. So how will one class use another class? That's a big subject. Whether you use it as local variable or whether you use it as instance variable is a big subject. But don't bother about when to do, what to do and all that. How to do you see. Later on you will understand when to do it. Are you following now? So now we have made them as instance variables. Are you clear with this? Do you have any questions here? This is the key now. On this I will start building the next program. You are initializing T with what value? Reference value. You are initializing X and Y with what? Primitive value. Depending on the variable you initialize the value. Any questions? So one way you can hard code is while declaring the variable itself. Another way you can hard code is in block. Which block? Instance block. Shall I hard code this in instance block now? Same output, there is no change. But only one thing what we will do now is, see in the instance block I can do this. X is equal to 10, Y is equal to 20, T is equal to new test of 5. Same output. But difference in execution. Class loading time you know what happens. But object creation phase we'll see. When the object is getting created new, instance variables are declared and initialized to what values? Default values. What value? X is 0, Y is 0, T is null. As soon as the block gets executed, X is overwritten with 10, Y is overwritten with 20, object of test gets created and that reference value is given to T. It happens immediately. But execution process has changed now. Before what was happening? As soon as the variables were declared, they are getting initialized. But now what is happening? As soon as the instance variables come into existence, they will get the default value first and then instance block gets executed, then it will override the default values. You got the difference between these two? That is why I was stressing so much on initialization. I was teaching you basics with primitive, what were you doing? Oh, I know all this. Correct, huh? Now see what will happen. Work hard. Clear this? But are you clear with this topic now? Are you clear? And all that code will work. Same code will work. There is no change. You will not get null. Everything works in the same way. Are you clear? So hard coding I have finished. So if you have an instance variable, it can be initialized with hard coding. Next I will move with what? Dot operator. Next I will move with what? Dot operator. One more thing, 1 second, notice. In fun method also, observe this. I can access value of P in T is plus T dot P, valid code. There how will I access? H dot T dot P. Here how will I access? T dot P. This is not plus, huh? My T and plus looks same. Don't get confused. It is T dot P. Valid? Look, one more thing. T dot M1. A very interesting flow now. I will call H dot T dot M1. Sorry, not that. Let's look at this line now. H dot fun. When I call H dot fun is called now. What will fun do? T dot M1. It will call this method now. M1 will get executed. Notice. So this is how you will reuse logic. You understanding how you reuse logic? This method will start using the logic present in another class. It will delegate. The technical word what we use is delegate. The call is delegated from this object to that object. Which object? From hello object to test object. Delegates. Delegating means what? Sending. Okay, control shifts. Understood? You should be very strong in English, man, when you come to learn what? Java language. You should be strong in English language. But I believe you are very good in English. Because you are all engineers and you have learned 22 years of English. Java is just 10 days old or 20 days old, no problem. You don't understand Java, I can teach you. But can I teach you English now? I can't teach you English. So learn English properly first. Are you clear with this? It delegates. See this? Are you getting the message what I am trying to give you now? H dot fun. See how the delegating happens. When fun gets executed. See here H dot fun. This is the method you have called. It will execute all these above lines. But when I T dot M1 control shifts from here to here. This will execute. Again this can shift from one more place to another place. Like this it goes on. It goes on delegating. Understood? Till now you have called methods locally. Like in class demo, main method was there, main was calling M1, M1 was calling M2, all were in the same class. But now we'll start calling methods in different classes like this. Understood now? So this is the best way you can reuse your code. This is the best way you can reuse your code. If you want, call that, all the statements inside that method will execute. Else, remove it. If I remove M1, what will happen? It will not call, you use that logic. So see, in object-oriented languages, any statements you want, you can add. Any statements you can remove it so easily. But in procedural languages, coding is very, very tough. If you want to modify your code now, imagine that you have to remove chunk of statements, which is very difficult. Here it is very easy. If you want some code now, just create object, call the method. If you don't want, remove the object. Over, don't call the method. As simple you can modify. That is why in object-oriented programming languages, they support the application can be of any big size. The application can be of any big size. But in other languages, procedural and all that, your application size is restricted, where you can't grow. The application cannot grow to a bigger size. So are you getting the flow of this? Hard coding understood? Most of the concepts I have covered here now. Reusability. We are talking about the best level of reusability. Reusability can be done with the help of what? In OOPS. Reusability can also, in OOPS, we can do reusability again with the help of a relationship between classes also. By establishing relationship between classes also. See, OOPS itself supports reusability. What? Encapsulation, polymorphism, inner returns and all that, they are actually done for what purpose? Reusability purpose. Apart from that level of reusability, you are having one more level of reusability here. What? By establishing relationship between classes. Okay, so it's a big subject what we are seeing now. So any questions here? Okay, so anyway, just I showed you that. Fine. Now hard coding is over. Next we'll try to initialize with what? Dot operator. That also we'll see. Now let's see. So as soon as I create the object, hello h is equal to new hello, carefully see now. X is what? 0, y is what? 0, t would be what? Null. Let this remain. I cannot draw again, that's why. T value will be null. Hello h is equal to null, nothing will happen. H is equal to new hello means definitely x will be, what will be the value of x? 0, 0 and h dot t will be what? Null. This is the problem. So how do you initialize now? Let's see. I'm going changing the program now. We are going with what? Dot operator. I'll write it again. See this. Dot operator now. We are focusing. Hello h is equal to null. H is equal to new hello. Fine. Object has got created. All the values are 0. If you want to check default value, sorry. H dot x, h dot y, h dot t, and h dot t, be careful, don't say h dot t dot p now, you'll get what? Null pointer exception. H dot t dot m1 also don't call. You don't try to access any member with t, you will get null pointer exception. Program will terminate. So it's better you try it initially. I'm not saying, but later on this mistake should not happen while programming. So this is done. Now how to initialize? See this. I'll initialize x. You know how to initialize x? It's very simple. H dot x is equal to what? 10. It will overwrite. H dot y is equal to 20. Yes, it will overwrite. Now see, I can write t is equal h dot t is equal to new test. Valid code. I have to give what value? Reference value. Or one more way I can do if you are getting confused with this. Test z is equal to new test. H dot t is equal to z now. Either you write it in single line like this, or you do it in two lines, your wish. Z is a variable of type what? Test. So when you say test set is equal to new test, one variable z will refer to this object. Address will be 150. Now what will I say? H dot t means in h dot t we are accessing that. Initially it is null, but I'll give the value of what? Z. What is the value of z? 150. Reference value. Correct. Now t will refer to what? Perfect. All are valid. So you can initialize with dot operator also. You can assign the values with dot operator. Focus on all this. These are very important topics. Because writing a class is not important. How you one class will use another class is very important. Understood? Sometimes you'll make it as instance variable. Sometimes, see, you might also make it as what? Local variable. This also is there, which you have seen till now. So when you make local variable, when you make instance variable, we'll discuss. That is second part of the story. Okay. You know how to work when they are local variables. Yes or no? In fun method, I can use test now. That we have discussed. We are not discussing about this now. We are making test as what? Instance variable. Are you clear? When to make this, when to make that, that we will discuss later. When to make instance variable, when to make local variable, that we'll discuss later. But if you make it as instance variable, we are learning now how to use it. Rest all will be same now. If I call, which one? If I call, after creating the object, I can access the member h dot t dot m1, correct now? H dot t dot m1, I can access the member, or I can say h dot fun. Now what will fun do? Fun will invoke the method in test m1. Same thing, but only we are saying now how to initialize it. Are you clear? Any questions? It's only initializing the instance variable, man, till now what I am teaching you. And for initializing that you have to give what? Reference value. Remember that. For initializing this you have to give reference value. Are you clear? Any questions? Shall I proceed next? Constructor. Constructor, till now the default constructor was getting used, but now I have to use what? Constructor I'll use. But here you notice, if you go with the dot operator, what I am doing, I'll show you first method, then I'll go with constructor. First I'll show you method. See this, void. I'll have one method called as meth. Any method name you have. First I'll show you method, then last I'll conclude with constructor. So int x, int y, test, a very interesting thing, z. So z is a parameter of type test. Carefully see now. Till now you have passed user defined data type as arguments to methods. Till now you have passed user defined data types as arguments to methods. Now you are passing user defined data type as arguments to constructor. Valid code. And nothing different here. Or test t only I'll take. Instead of z you take what? T. It will be very simple. Because you will have to say t is equal to z. Instead of that what we will write down? This dot t is equal to t. As simple as that. So very simple. What is so big thing about this? This dot y is equal to x, this dot t is equal to t. Valid now? Let's outright the code now. When you see, after creating the object, you check and see values will be what? See, again I'll draw the diagram for this now. When you say hello h is equal to new hello, hello object gets created. What are the members of hello? X, Y, T. It's having one method called as meth. What are the parameters? Int x, int y, test t. This dot x is equal to x, this dot y is equal to y, this dot t is equal to t. Fine, you can have the fun method, all that is optional now. So first, which object has been created? Hello, address is 150. Default constructor gets executed here also. You print and see, default values will be 0. Null, this one will print null. But don't call this method. Sorry, h dot t is null. So don't do this, you'll get null pointer exception. Then next, okay, instead of initializing it like this, which one? H dot x, h dot y. What will I do? I'll call the method now. How will I call the method? But to call the method, first you have to do what? Don't write this also. This is wrong. Okay. To call the method, I have to create an object of first what? Test. So I'll create. What I'll create? So all this is wrong. Don't do this. So let's see now how you do it. So to call the method, you'll say test. T is equal to new test. Or you can take a different name. I'll take same name, no issues. 5. So an object of test gets created. T. Address is 250. Okay, new means you know how it happens now. P is there, constructor is there, int p, this dot p is equal to p, then void m1 method is the same thing, memory comes into existence. That address has been given to what? That address has been given to t, correct? Huh? Now see, how will I call the method? H dot meth 10 20 t. Valid? Huh? Reference value will be given now. So what is the value of, okay, if you want still clearly, see this. Int p is equal to 10, int q is equal to 20, int, okay, two variables. First declare it. Now instead of saying 10, 20, I'll say h dot meth p, q, t. Valid now? The value of p is given to what? X. The value of q is given to what? Y. The value of t is given to what? T. What is the value of t? Focus on t now. 250. It will be given to the parameter. What will the parameter do? Give the same value to instance variable. Yes or no? This t will refer to this now. See how many t's are referring to the address? If you want to print SOP t, you print here. You print here SOP t inside the method. And you print SOP this dot t. All will have the same address. This dot t, t, here, everywhere it will print all the t's are referring to the same address. But anyway, call by reference now. Call by reference. See, till now I have shown you how to send arguments to methods. Same I am doing. I am not doing anything extra now. I am only sending that argument to what? Constructor. I am showing you how to pass primitive as well as user defined data type in methods. We have seen methods now. Yeah, we are talking about methods only. Sorry. Same I am doing. We have seen this code earlier. Is there any change in the code? We have seen this code earlier, no? Call by value, call by reference. How many examples I had given to you? We are saying it in method, not constructor. I'm sorry for that. Are you clear with this? So when you call the method, h dot, which method? Meth. P value is what? 10. Q value is what? 20. T value is what? Reference. It is given to this parameter. From P value is given to X, Y, Q value is given to Y, T value is given to T. Which T value? This variable. This will be given to T. This is a parameter now. Parameter will give the value to what? Instance variable. That's it. And if you understood with method, you know how to do it with a constructor now. But one small change will be there. If it is constructor, what you will do? I'll remove the method now. I'll just change the name. Yes. Now, what was happening here? First you are creating hello object and then you are creating test object and calling the method. But now ulta will happen. First you have to create what? Test object. That's all. So for the fourth one now, I am just directly moving now. Which one? Three things over: hard coding over, dot operator over, methods over. Last one is what? Constructor. Very simple. How will you write now? But to call the constructor, first create object. Test t is equal to new test of 5. Valid? Then what will I do? Hello h is equal to new hello of p q t, provided you have stored the values in p and q. Correct now? Over. That's it. As simple as this. If you know method, constructor is very simple. Or you can write this in single line. See this. Hello h is equal to, I'll write it here for your understanding, clear understanding. Hello h is equal to new hello. One second, where is the space? You can write it here. One line I'll write it here. In one line you can write it. Hello h is equal to new hello of p q new test of 5. Valid code now. Brilliant code. Shortcuts now. Instead of wasting one variable here like this, 2 lines, I am writing it in a single line. Highly valid code. Even for method also you could have done the same thing. You could have written it in a single line. Are you clear? So you are moving to real concepts of programming now, and these are all SCJP questions for you. Very tricky. Understood? Very tricky SCJP. You want to write SCJP exam now, and then you have to do all this. And this is what is programming. But look, one thing I'll tell you very clearly. We have seen all the 4 ways to work. Now if you want little, I'll compare with C. Little. Just see how complicated this subject is in C language. You know, one structure will use another structure now. That time what will you have here? Pointer now. No, same thing you try to do it in C. Let me see. Here it's so comfortably we finished everything. You understanding what I am telling? Struct student, struct address. Student has address. Now do it now. In C you do all this. Just I am telling you how comfortable this language is. So these topics come out in all languages. Which one? Is a relation, has a relation, it will come out in fact we don't discuss about is a relation and has a relation in C language because it's a procedural language. We discuss more of this in object oriented languages. But just I'm telling you, if one data type wants to use another data type, it's so difficult in other languages. But in Java, it is so easy. So the concept of association is big, but Java does it so elegantly without the pain for the developer. And if you say this is difficult, imagine what would be your fate in other languages. Even in C++ also it is very difficult. Establishing has a relationship even in C++ also is very, very difficult. But Java is doing it in a very elegant fashion, very easy fashion. What difficulty did you find here? Nothing. Why? Your basics are strong now. Why? Reference value you know now. You know what an object is. You know what a class is. So that is the reason this topic is becoming much and much simplified for you. The same thing if I had written in the first class, imagine what would have happened. Imagine what would happen. You would have told definitely what? You would have said quits. You wouldn't have learnt it. It's only a clever knack of carrying you through the course. What to tell when. So you try to hurry up. We can't do anything because I can finish this in the first class. When I'm teaching you the basics, you'll be thinking I know everything, I know everything. Why sir is so much stressing on that subject? The reason why I stress on that subject is it's going to pile up next like this. The reference value is becoming a major subject now. Yes or no? So do you have any questions now? We can initialize the instance variable with hard coding, dot operator, methods and constructor. All the 4 I have shown to you. Working with that is very simple. Are you clear? Do you have any questions? I'll type and show it to you. Not a problem. Okay. Last thing. Sometimes this variable can be made as static also. We'll see when later. Possible. And now I'm dealing with what? Static variable. I'm moving to the next topic. If you say you're through with this, I'm moving to the next topic. Do you have any questions here? No? It's comfortable. Fine. So what if my t is a static variable? They belong to class. So now let's see how to work with this. Directly I can write SOP what? Hello.t. It's a static variable, I can access it. What will it print? Null. Static variables are declared and initialized when the class is loaded. When is the class loaded? When you access a static member. Bring all the basics. Now how to initialize t? When to initialize? I can initialize it in what? Hard coding, dot operator, method, constructor. The best way to initialize it with hard coding. If you do it with method, what will happen? It will refer to a new object every time. I'll show you if you want. Right now what was happening? It was referring to, okay, just hello.t will be null. But if it is this one now, the best way to initialize is hard coding. If it is instance a static variable. Now let's forget all this now. This is the best way to do it. So how do you work now? Very simple. See this code now. Look at the code. Hello.t will print what? Address. As soon as the class is loaded, t is declared and initialized. Initialized means what? Automatically which object gets created? Test object is created. If you want to put on SOP inside the constructor of what? Test, you can see it. But the constructor of hello will not be executed. The constructor of which class gets executed now? Very clearly you can see there are two constructors. You can put on default constructor here also. SOP inside hello constructor. It will not execute this. Why? We have still not created an object of hello. But definitely object of which gets created? Test. Check out hello.t. That's it. Now I'll call hello.t.p. What is the output? 5. 100%. Okay. Then I can also SOP you print. SOP. Now I can also say hello dot t dot what? M1 also is valid code. And the syntax you have already seen somewhere. Where? System dot out dot println. Okay, that I'll tell you later. Okay, but that's what they have designed. Class system. System is what? Class. In that there is a static variable by name out of type print stream. I will just write the code for you if you want source code of that. See what is happening? There is a class called as system. This is one class. There is a class called as print stream. I'll be explaining the library classes later for you. Don't have to worry about this. Just I'm giving you an idea. Why I'm telling you this? It will be helpful for you in interviews. You are having a method called as print ln. This is the method. So where is this method present now? Print stream. Not only print ln, one more method is there called as print, which I have shown you earlier. There are two methods, print and print ln, which are present in print stream. What Java people are doing is they have made static print stream and they have declared it as out is equal to new print stream. Correct now? Same what I have done here. System dot out. Out is a variable of type what? Print stream. System dot out. You can access it without creating an object of class system. System dot out dot println. Simple as that. So if anybody asks you explain what is system dot out dot println, what will you tell now? System is a built-in class. Out is a static variable of type print stream. Println is a method present in print stream. Over. You are sending arguments to it. What? Some arguments. It will do the output to the console. This is library. So later on we start using library. As simple. You are from college. If I had asked you to explain what is the system.out.print.ln, what would have you told? One big story you will tell. Oh, it will print to that, it will print to this. Big stories you will tell. It's very simple subject. So for understanding all this, these concepts are very much essential. Clear example to make you understand is class hello, test is a static variable, t is a variable of type test, hello.t.m1, that's it. Yes or no? Hello.t.m1. Are you clear with this? So we'll work with libraries like this. We do not write code. I'm clearly telling you, learn how to work with classes. Right now you might be jumping around. What? I know Java. Sir, if it takes 1 more hour extra, 2 more hours extra, later on if I take half a minute extra, you will die. Minute. Understood? Minute if I take extra, it will tell, sir, enough. That is the subject. Why you know? Why that will happen? Problem with basics. And in setting the basics, practice it properly. It is not difficult. You make it difficult by yourself. Such easy is the library. They are telling you not to write the code also. What more do you need? Can't you use the library? Forget writing code. This is library now. If you want to print to the console, what did I use? I am using a println method present in class print stream. That's all I did. My requirement is what? I want to write a Java program which prints to the console. Anything, let it be anything. I want to print to the console. Okay, what did I use? I used the library. So like that, anything you want to do, ascending, descending, they are your favorite programs now. Write a program to ascend, write a program to descend. One function, one method, it is ascending, descending arranged will come out. Everything is there in the library here. You don't have to worry too much about this. But you should know how to use the library. To use the library, your basics should be very, very, very strong. Are you clear with this? Any questions here? So generally we can make it as hard coding. We can make it as hard coding. Are you clear? Okay. We should not initialize with what? I show you the drawbacks. If you do it with the dot operator, if you initialize static variables with dot operator, if you initialize static variables with method, if you initialize static variables with, I show you the drawbacks. Okay, but I'm only showing you the drawbacks. 100% always all your static variables will be initialized by hard coding only. Remember that. If you want, you can do it in other ways. You want, you can do it, but there are problems with that. Let me show you the problems. Are you clear with this? So static variable, remember there is only one copy. First thing, keep this in mind. And you should never go on modifying the value in that variable, because the same value will be used by all the other classes. So or objects. Okay. So you should not change the value in the static variable. That is one thing in mind. Okay. So that is why, let's say, we avoid initializing the static variable values with dot operator, constructor and methods and all that. Are you clear? So we'll see now. Are you clear with this now? I'll show you this with programs. It is static. Yes, one option is you can initialize here, or you can initialize it in a static block. This is also hard coding only. T is equal to new test, valid. Like see here I will say x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20. So as soon as the class is loaded, x and y are declared and initialized to what? 0, 0, and t will be initialized to null. Then static block will execute and override the values. You can do like this also. If you want proof, you print in static block before only SOP x, it will be 0, SOP y 0, SOP t null. After the static block completes execution, they will be initialized to print there only. You have to put SOPs and check out now the flow. Understood? That's why I code like that. I put maximum SOPs, you have noticed, for output purpose or learning purpose? Learning purpose. I've shown you how to code actually. But you only see video and go. There you'll understand everything. Class, everybody is understanding. Video you see, still more clearer. But when it comes for you to code, it's not possible. Reason is what? You are not practicing coding. You are thinking if you are understanding it is more than sufficient. You are understanding it's okay. But you have to make the machine understand by coding. We are not talking about whether, see, I talk English, you will understand English. But you should also be able to communicate English. That is your mistake. It's not, see, everybody knows English, but communicating English is tough now. Same thing will happen to you now in Java also. Understanding Java 100% you'll understand. But now the same language you have to use to communicate with what? Processor now. And that time what will you do? So don't think if you understood it's over. At the same time you have to give strong commands to the processor to execute. Commands means what? Statements. Processor should be afraid of you. Compiler should run away from you. Whatever you give, you should compile. Means that professional you should be in coding. Compiler should never say no. When I type, I'll get errors, huh? Very rarely, because compiler is afraid of me. Yes or no? Same way, it should be afraid of you. But when you type, what will happen? Compiler is not bothered only. what it does? Error, mail, error, error, mail, error, error, mail, error. Why? Improper practice. It's practice which will make you perfect here. Remember all this. Clear? So you understood these two concepts? Okay, I have to make it as static and show it with what now? Dot operator. Let's see. So now hello.t will be what now? Null. Because you are not initialized with hard coding. So now see, test t is equal to new test t1 is equal to new test of 5. Valid. Now you can say hello dot t dot. See, t1 object is created now. And that address I can give to what? Hello.t is equal to t1. T1's address is given to t now. So t is referring to which object now? T1 object. Later on I can write test t2 is equal to new test of something like 55. Hello.t. Hello.t is equal to t2. Valid now? I'm going on modifying it. It will have a different reference value now. Now there will be one more object t2. You are giving the address of t2 to t now. So don't do this. Same problem will happen in what? Methods and constructors also. So static variable value should not be modified every now and then. Understood? Because it will be affecting everybody now. Whoever tries to use that, it will affect. I can give one more reference value. Test t3 is equal to new test. And I'll give something like 99. Again I can say hello.t is equal to t3. But it will have another reference value. This should not happen. Understood? You should not go on modifying the static. See, same way I can write now hello.x is equal to 1. Again I can say hello.x is equal to 9 now. What will happen? It overwrites now. There you are overwriting primitive value. Here you will overwrite reference value. This thing shouldn't happen. Same problem will happen if you try to initialize with what? Constructor and method. Every time you call the method, what happens? You can send a new value now. Every time you create a new object, you can send a new reference value to the constructor now. So it will go on overwriting. Don't practice that also. If you want to practice, I am not saying no. Let us avoid coding all that. Reason is, practically it is not used. Understood now? If you want to do R&D, there is a big subject. A full day you can code now on this subject. See, generally your trend now what it is, 2 hours of class, okay fine, you have understood. Little you have not understood video, you will go home. That is your trend now. This will not happen in the further things, in the further days. You will be unable to code, provided you don't code. Code, it's very interesting. The subject is so interesting actually. Okay, you code, beautiful, excellent it is. You cannot find an easier language than this, I am warning you. You think you leave this and try to learn some other language, you are wasting life, you are wasting time. Don't learn programming language only. Any programming language you don't learn. Reason is they are more tougher than this. They are more tough than Java. You are thinking, okay, here, because you hardly know one programming language. Okay, so you'll have to say quits to programming and look out for some other alternative. And today you might think I'll do testing, which is non-programming. Who said Java testing doesn't require programming? There also you need programming. There also you need Java today. Selenium testing you heard. What is required there? Java. Then you are so much aware of all this now. So Java is used so extensively. Everywhere it is getting used. Now if you want to enter IT industry, it is becoming mandatory for you to learn. So put more effort. Are you following now? Any questions? Shall I clear all this? I'll type and show you now. Over. That's it. So tomorrow I'll go with only one type. What? Arrays can you do? Arrays. Okay. Arrays I'll finish off all the coding, then I show you arrays. That's it. I just write code. You only write the programming. Okay. So we are learning association relationship now. Means whenever there has a relation, we do association between classes. Okay, whenever you want to establish as a relationship, we say we do association. Association is always done by creating instance variables. That's the solution in Java. That's the solution in Java. By having instance variables. And if you are having instance variables, let's see how do you initialize it. Yeah, this is one class now. What I'll do now is I'll change. Okay, I'll go with the same thing. I'll have one more class. So totally there are 3 classes, notice. Class test. Here I'll have a variable called as P, and I'll have a method called as M1 here. Okay, inside M1 value of P is P in so done. So class hello is there, class test is there. Now hello wants to use test. Hello, when it wants to use test, it can go with is a relation also, has a relation also. But I am showing you how to go with has a relation. Okay, if hello wants to use test and if you are going with has a relation, that is when you make it as instance variable. Else you will do it as what? Extends test you will do. You getting it now? Is a relation, you will go with extends. Has a relation, what will you do? This is how you establish relationships. See, first before doing the establishing the relationships, I will compile. Everything compiles. And it will execute also. Only main method is getting executed. Main is not using any class now. See this. No class is using no class. So like this, plenty of classes will be there. After writing all the classes, how will one, means if you don't know how to use it, what is the use of writing so many classes? Understood? So we have to use it now. Means I call one method, that should call another method, that should call another method. Delegating calls. That is reusability. Some code will be in one method, some code will be in another method. So what we do now? See, we start doing like this. So I'll make it as a instance variable. I'm not initializing it also, because why we don't initialize instance variables? They get default values. They'll get default values. So I just made it as an instance variable. Let's see now. Now I'll create the object of what? Hello. I can't use hello now. H correct, right? Can I use H? I'll get null pointer exception now. Of y is value of t is correct. All the variables, huh? Tell the variables. A very easy subject, man, today. Clear? Any questions here? So what will I get? Here only I'll get null pointer exception now, because I have to create object of hello first. Understood? Inside main it will print. See this hello world, it is printing first line. Third line you are getting that problem. But if I remove null, I'll get error. Might not have been initialized. Why? H is a local variable. H is a local variable. So you can't use a local variable without initializing. Are you clear? But instance variables no need to initialize. Okay, fine. This is done. It's a local variable. So I have initialized it to null. But if I try to use it, I'll get null pointer exception. So that's why I'll initialize it with what? Reference value. So what happens now? Default constructor is executed now. And default construct, see, when the class is loaded, nothing happens now. There's nothing, no static variable in hello class, no static block. But when instance is created, these variables are declared and initialized to default values. Then default construct gets executed. You know, instance creation phase, what happens? Instance variables are declared and initialized, instance block gets executed, construct gets executed. So instance variables are declared and initialized means what will happen? They'll get default values of whatever respectively, and then default constructor will execute. Default constructor will not provide any value to it. Okay, let's see now what happens. X is 0, y is 0, t is null. Perfect. But if I try to print t dot what? P. H dot t dot p. Now I'll get what? Null pointer exception. Again, understanding when you get null pointer exception and all that. Or even if I try to call a method h dot t dot m1, both of them will give you error. First I'll show you end of main I'll print, right? See, end of main will not print this time. T is null. I'll get what? Null pointer exception. Because where I'm getting this problem? Line number 36. It tells you very clearly. 36 means h dot t dot p. Even if I try to call which one? M1 method also. Same problem will occur. But this time line number will be 37. That's all. So don't try to work with t. If you don't try to work with t, perfectly it will execute. Clear? Okay. Now how to initialize t? So there it starts off now. You decided to have has a relation, and when you decided to have has a relation, you made it as an instance variable. Now to use it, you have to initialize it. So this is where the story starts. So how do you initialize? One option is new test. But test, okay, we are not having a construct here. I'll write the construct. For test, I'll write. Done. So it has a constructor now. You have to supply the value 5. Perfect. Now see. Value of t is what? Address now. Earlier it was null. So it's having the reference value. Okay. What we'll do? We'll put on. I'll write on default. I'm not using it. Just notice. I'm just not using it. But let's see which object is created first. We have to study like this. This is how you have to study. Inside hello constructor. Not only constructor, see this. Very interesting, we'll do it. I'll write static block also. Inside hello static, inside hello instance. Like this you see the flow. Understood? You have to study like this always. Simply I know Java means who knows? Everybody will know Java. Understood? Perfect, you understood what I did? I just added all the three things: static block, instance block and constructor. Let's see the flow now. So and in the main what we are doing is get the flow. Actually what I'm saying, you should always understand what, not understand what I'm doing. Concept you should focus. I written static block here, instance block here, as well as on constructor, default constructor. So we know that default constructor is getting executed in hello. Okay, but in test which constructor gets executed? Argumented constructor, yes or no? Because we are calling it, see that test is equal to new test, and in main we are calling all this h is equal to new hello. So class is hello class is also loaded, object is also created. Let's see what happens. Hello static first. Now hello static variable gets declared and initialized, then instance variables object is getting created. See the flow, what has happened? First hello class is loaded into the JVM. I am telling only what? See the flow here. Hello h is equal to new hello. Where is it? Okay. See the flow very clearly. 1 second. Yeah, we are saying hello h is equal to new hello. So first which class is loaded? Hello class. Static variables of hello class are coming into existence, but does hello class have any static variable? No. Hello class does not have static variable, so it will not come into existence. Then static block gets executed. That's what you are saying now. What? Inside hello static. Now instance variable is declared and initialized. Yes or no? X, Y and test. Test is required now. So when test is used now, getting used now test class will get loaded. Understood? Test class will get loaded. That's why you can say test static. Then we can say which one? Test instance block, because first test object has to get created. Then that address will be given to T in. You know the flow now. Here you can see this is hello object getting created. X, Y, but we are hard coding T. If you are hard coding T now, test class has to come into existence, object has to be created. That's why you can see the full flow of what? Test static, test instance, test constructor. After that you can see hello instance, hello constructor. Are you following now? So this is how it gets executed. Okay. So this flow will vary depending on where you initialize how you initialize, which one? Test. It will vary. If you are initializing in constructor, it will happen in a different way. If you do it with the dot operator, it will happen in a different way. Don't think this is standard now. Okay, depending on how you initialize, it will go on varying. But you should know the reasons. Trace it today. We'll have full time. You can trace it. Why that's happening, why this is happening, you can notice it. But in hard coding, this is the flow. Okay, once it is done, now what happens? Now you can print. Now see this. I can also call not only h.t.p now, h.t.m1 also I can call. Are you clear? T is initialized now. With what value? Reference value. See this. All the object getting created leave. Value of x is what? 0. Value of y is what? 0. Value of t is what? Address. Value of p is what? 5. We are calling I think m1 method. Inside m1. Then value of p in m1. End of main. Clear? So we are initialized with what? Hard coding. Okay. If you want, you can hard code it here. If you want, I will initialize even this one also to hard code 10. This hard coding you know, man. Which one? Primitives. Because in earlier printing 0, now it will print what? 10, 20. That's it. So you can hard code everything. If you are not interested in hard coding, you can initialize these values where? In the instance block. That's up to you now. X is, but you have to initialize it in which block? Instance block, not static block. 10. Y is equal to 20, T is equal to new test of 5. Now you remove all the values here. Same result, but the flow might change. Okay, let's see what might happen. Okay, it needs, I think, static block. Okay, let's see the output now. Hello static, hello instance. See, the flow has changed. Hello static, hello instance. Why? Because instance first, hello stat class is loaded, hello class. Then instance variables have come to life. Then instance block gets executed. There it is trying to initialize test. That's why test static now. Test class is getting loaded now. Test class is getting loaded. When it is getting loaded? Not here. Okay, but in instance block, here it will get loaded. So you should observe all this flow. Test instance, then test constructor, then hello constructor. Are you saying, understanding how the classes are getting loaded, how the objects are getting created? That's why I gave the notes yesterday. Class loading phase, object creation phase. Understood? Is this point clear to you? So hard coding is over. Next I'll go with what? Dot operator. Using the objects, no. Using it is what? H dot T dot P, H dot T dot M1. This is clear for you? Now I can work with T, it is initialized. Okay, then I can go with what now? Next, what kind of initialization I can do? I can do the initialization with the help of what? Dot operator. Next, okay. So we'll create the objects. After creating the object, we should not use these two. So you can print, it will be having 0, 0, null. If you want, you can initialize h dot t dot h dot x is equal to 10, h dot y is equal to 20, h dot t is equal to new test. Directly you can write 5. Done. So all the variables have been initialized. Done. Now, okay, we can print after that. You can print now, and as well as you can enable these two comment. And let's see the flow again. Hello static, hello instance, hello constructor. First hello object is fully ready. Then value of x and all, it is getting printed. Now while initializing with dot operator, now test object is getting created. When it is getting created, see this inside test static, when it is happening, when we are doing here. So simply if you declare a variable, nothing will happen. Okay, you have to initialize it, that time all these things will happen. Are you clear? Hello h is equal to null, anything will happen? No, if you declare it, nothing will happen. As when you are trying to initialize it, that time the class will be loaded. H dot something I'll try to do, then the class will be loaded. Okay, so are you clear with this now? H dot t means I'm trying to create object of what? Test. Obviously class will be loaded now. Hard coding assignment operator over. Next what? Methods. Void. Fun method is there, right? No, it is not there. Okay, I'll put fun method below this. Void fun. Now if you are initializing with the method, you need parameters. Int x, comma, int y, comma, test t, valid. And if you want, you can print all the values. Value of x is x in fun. You can have the same names here also. And if you want value of t is, what will in fun is, what will be the answer? Null first. Then I can say, see, I can use this operator here also. This dot x is equal to x. I can use it in a method. Here I'll create conflict because I just want to give the value. Don't think you will not create conflicts in methods. You will do it, provided when you are trying to initialize like this and all, you will do it. Done, valid. After initializing, okay, before initializing also you can print this dot t, this dot x. You know how to do it now? Instance x, instance y, instance t. Same you print below. Correct now? So you are trying to initialize with what? Methods. So now I'll create the object first. And what will be the default values? 0, 0, 0. So after creating the object, now I'll try to call which method? H dot fun. But to call this method, what I need? 10, 20. If you want, you can store it in variables. As I told you, int p is equal to 10. Sorry, int q is equal to 20. Test t is equal to new test of 5, and then you can call p q t. Valid now? But before that I'll print value of t. Here also you can print. It will be, I'm giving you an address. What address it will give you? Some address it will give you. That address. Now here you are printing t now. This address, this dot t address, all will be same. Understood? All will be referring to the same. H dot fun, your favorite error. Why didn't you tell me? See, compiler is afraid of me, man. See, like this you should code. Understood? Simply you should not see video and tell, oh sir is coding so brilliantly. That I'll do, man. Okay, sir will teach so brilliantly, that I'll do. That is my job. But what is your job? To learn it now. To come here to appreciate me or to learn something. Sir will teach good only. All these years you tested me. Yes or no? Sir will teach Java itself. How good he'll teach? I have one tag there. Go and say what? Java Guru. Yes or no? You'll understand why now. Understood? Any questions now? Any questions with methods? Understanding? Same will change into what? Constructor. That's it. So this you'll do when you are creating the object. Now this time when you are creating the object only you have to send what? You have to create test object and send it. Okay, hello h is equal to new hello of p comma q comma t. Valid now? First declare all the variables, create the object, and now what prints you put, it's up to you, man. I'm tired of putting prints now. Understood? So it will work now. That's all. If you understood method, constructor is as simple as that. Now flow will change little. First a test class will be loaded now. Let's see what will happen now. H start x, all this is okay. Let's see. First, which static will execute? I removed static in test. It is there. Okay, test static now. Test instance. Test constructor. Now hello static. Hello instance. Like this it goes on. Okay. So check it out how the flow is. Which class is loaded first? Which object is created first? Yeah. So when there has a relationship, all these things will come into picture. Yeah. I still have not gone deeper into what is that composition aggregation. I didn't explain that with examples. Today I just explained you what is association. Composition aggregation and all we'll be seeing with more examples later. Just I showed you how one class will be associated with other class. Lastly, making this as static. Can you do it by yourself? making this as static. Now hello.t will be what? I can access that. I'll show you. Little I'll show you. What I'll show is just I'll print. I'll remove everything here, man, or I'll comment off everything. Just I'll print SOP hello.t I'll print. That's it. More than that I'll not do anything. It will print me null. Sorry, it will print me address. But first hello class will be loaded. Check this. This flow is little interesting. Hello class is loaded. Static of hello is executed. And t is still not loaded. Class t has not been loaded. But it will be loaded when I say this flow you have to understand. See, test static first, because as soon as hello class is loaded, okay, I think, yeah, some things test static, then test instance, test constructor, hello static. Static variable has been declared and initialized, but to initialize that static variable, what is happening? Test class is getting loaded. See, in hello class, test is a static variable. First that should be declared and initialized now. So after that, static block of hello gets executed. After initializing the static variables present in hello class, then static block of hello gets executed. So that is why you can see what? Static block of hello is not getting executed still. No? See the flow here. First understand this concept. Hello class is getting loaded, but first static variables are declared and initialized. Then the static block will execute. To initialize test, now first test class is getting loaded. That is why you can see the output. Test static, test instance, test constructor, hello static. But hello object did not get created. Hello instance didn't get executed. Hello constructor didn't get executed. Why? We are not creating the object of hello. I'm just accessing h.t. So all this should be clear. But you don't have to worry too much about this. I have taken you too much in depth into all this. Okay, which is not required, because why I take so much in depth is, there's a difference between suction and delivery. Suction and delivery. Engineering students here now. Suction, many things will happen. Delivery will happen what? Less only. So I read so many things from book. That is my suction capacity. I'll deliver it to you. Few things I'll deliver. But again you are having what? Suction. You'll understand. But your delivery also has to happen. Where? In interview, coding and all that. So your delivery will be less. That's why it's a very simple theory. If I teach you 100 things, you will understand 10 things. If you understand 10 things, your output will be one thing. That is what I want. That one thing is more than sufficient here. That is why I have to go so much deeper. But if I teach you directly that one thing, nothing you'll understand. It will be like college, you'll by heart. But at least now you're logically thinking, you have started thinking what's happening, what's not happening. That is what I wanted. So still these days we are never thinking anything. And I wanted you people to start thinking. Any day you thought something, nothing you thought. So at least now you have started thinking. That too in what? Programming you are thinking. That is one great achievement. Understood? You understood the delivery section now? 100 things to 10 things you will understand. 10 things, one thing you will finally deliver. I want only one thing, that one thing. But to get that one thing from you, I have to do this much of circus. I have to do, you will not do circus. Why? What will you tell? I paid money, no, let her teach. Let him teach. So in college, how much money you spend, that you will not realize. Correct? Lakhs together you will spend. There nothing you will learn, nothing you will complain. But here, how much you will give? Peanuts you will give. And on top of that, you want what? No, you want full training also. On top of that, you want job. Imagine how I should justify all this. First, you understand all this concept. Company only will give you a job. You don't have to go for the job. They will recruit you. So when you go to interview, these some questions will come out. So that is why before going to interview, you certify yourself that you are good in programming. If you are good in programming, which language, That adds more weightage. Rather than my certificate, will my certificate give value to it? I'll give no. Like, all institutes will do the same thing. What? Completed one course in one laminate sheet they'll give you. What is the use of that certificate? Nobody recognizes that. But an international certification is always valid worldwide. There, it's given by pioneers. Okay, if it is, what is that? Java, it is given by Oracle people. Or earlier it was ACJP, now we call it as OCJP. If it is networking, CCNA. If it is SAP certification. So like that you have to show professionalism. So that really means if you want to clear that exam, you should have knowledge in the subject, then only you will clear. So that is really appreciating for the interviewer. Among 100 resumes, you might have 55%, but assume that your one resume is having SCJP. He'll give more weightage to it. He'll reject the 99 and appoint the person who is SCJP certified. That's the knack of getting a job. But you'll not do all that. Directly you want what? Job. Anybody tells you I'll give you a job, first you'll pay money to them. Anybody tells you I'll give you knowledge, no, I have sufficient knowledge. Why should I give money to him? This is your argument. So it's very difficult to fight with you. There you'll spend lakhs in college, nothing you'll learn, but you'll not blame anything. But here you'll give hardly what? Peanuts, and tell what? You want everything. And I'll teach everything, but you are not ready to learn also. Whose problem is this? Your problem. Rectify. You rectify, it can happen. It's not a problem. Understood? You are just in a hurry. Okay. Don't worry, things are easy ahead. If you understand, get the basics now. You have seen how to use one class with another class. Next we start seeing is a relation. That is more than sufficient. And these concepts will come out in all languages. You go to C++, you go to any COBOL language, this will not leave you. Data types will get loaded into the runtime environment. Generally I'll tell now, objects do get created and you work with objects. Generally now. Okay, data types get loaded into runtime. But in Java we say classes get loaded into JV. That's all the difference. So story is same. There's no change. It will not leave you. Whichever language you learn, the story is same. The only thing is you have to put effort in one language. Other languages will automatically become easier to you. Okay. In spite of giving all this brilliant support, last thing I'll still keep telling you, Java is giving you brilliant libraries. They say do not code anything. Do not code anything. Other languages will give the support. Plus they'll ask you to code. Java says do not code also. What language you need, man? What better language you need? You only tell now. Powerful editors are there. Eclipse and all that. More ahead waiting for you. What luxury you need, you tell here. So code all this. So do you have any questions here? Okay. This assignment I leave it to you. You practice. Which one? Arrays. Just try it with class hello only. Class hello we are having now. You can have an array of type what? Int. But you know how to declare it. How will you declare it? Should I specify size? Leave it empty. So you can assign it with any size. One is you can hard code. How will you hard code? Is equal to new. Okay. All this you do. Okay, if you want tomorrow I'll show you. Is equal to new int of 5. But default values everywhere will be what? Inside the array will you provide value? That is the trick. You nodded your head, do now. Inside the array will you initialize? See now. Hello h is equal to new hello. Fine. Object gets created. X is initialized. Okay. And I can say h dot x of 0. What will be the answer? 0th index 0, first index 0, second index 0. How will you fill values now? Inside the array. See, here I am initializing x. Initializing array is different. Initializing the variable is different. Initializing the array is different. There's two steps now. One is declaring and creating the array. Next one is what? Initializing the array. Initializing the array, you can do it in instance block. Or you can do it in constructor. How will you initialize? X of 0 is equal to 100. X of 1 is equal to 101. This is one way you can initialize. More is there, I'll show you. Or you can create an array outside and send it to the constructor. That is all options you are having. We'll see this tomorrow and I'll conclude it tomorrow. Class hello, int x, declare it, and now see the array. The constructor is having an array of type what? Int z. This also, sorry, how do you declare it? Correct now? Yeah, you declare like this. Then what will you do? X is equal to, but create it outside and send the reference. Try it, not saying no. There are plenty of things for you to try. Tomorrow I will be showing. Clear? This is last. Okay, this is last. These are your members of the class. Yesterday I wrote no diagram. Members of the class, variables, static variables, instance variables. In static, user defined type, primitive type. Okay, in instance, primitive type, user defined type, constructor, blocks, methods. Yesterday's story I completed. Last part of the class I had shown you the members of the class now. That is what I completed today. Tomorrow if you want I'll show you how to work with arrays. That's it. Yeah? Okay, that's it then.